can indeed.
Yep.
Also,
Okay.
starting
I lost audio for a second. Wasn't sure what was going on.
Okay. Starting the stream as well. Good morning, everyone. This would be episode 223 being recorded on whatever the hell today is. I believe it's sometime in early September. And we'll be starting shortly. Yvonne had to step away for a sec, but we're all here. I think we're all ready to go. Can't really predict the duration of this one. There isn't a lot of news, even though we have got some more official news from BioWare that we talked about last week. Yeah. Yes, finally the show will begin.
Check, check. Can you hear me right now? Chad? Okay, Tio, I think I've got a working mute. That should mute Audacity as well.
Is that an ambo in the background or a police car?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Chill. I was just telling these guys, I probably won't have my usual fairly decent quality happening here. I just moved and I don't have all my stuff, so yeah, things like that.
Yeah, was this the big move to the LA area?
I did. Yeah, I moved back to LA, but I could only move the essentials basically on short notice.
Right.
So I don't have everything, and that means I'm like totally low tech here.
No, I totally, yeah, I get it. I remember from last time you guested, you're getting close. So
yes.
now you're there.
It's been
Awesome.
a bit nutty. So hopefully I don't hear, yeah, I'll try to mute anything that's loud or bad.
Alright, now does everyone have Audacity ready to roll?
Yes, and can you guys, is the chat link now, is there a way to do chat without streaming the Twitch video? Or?
Yes, if you bring up twitch.tv/OotiniCast, you'll find in the chat thing, right at the bottom, I believe there's a little gear icon. You click on that.
Okay.
It's got a pop-out option. You just pop that out and then close the window with the stream.
It's perfect. Thanks, man. I'm working on all that. I got my bandwidth set pretty low, so it doesn't...
Yep, I can see it. Is that just your Wi-Fi? You don't want to overload it, or you got a weak connection?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
On my end, yeah.
All right. So, okay, so let's just run around the table. So, you are recording, Chell?
I am. In fact, let me test. Yeah. Levels look good.
Long?
Yes, I am recording. Test. I think everything's good.
Check, check.
You got a turbo
I got my
symbol next
recording.
to you in Twitch, Mr. Uffalong. What does that mean?
I think it's...
It's a chat badge.
I think, yeah, because I've got like a Twitch Premium account or something
Ah, there you go.
that I never use, so
All right,
I don't
fair
actively stream.
enough. Okay. And Yvonne is recording.
I am recording, and I'm seeing a signal. It may not be real healthy, but it's there.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
All right, Jill. Anything we want to talk about before we go, or are you ready to roll?
I think I'm ready.
All right. And do you mind talking about the trip to?
No, do you want to do that during our week?
Let's talk about that when we talk about Comic-Con, because that is
Okay.
a thing.
I'm going to turn up my headphone levels. For some reason, I'm using the normal level, but it seems really quiet.
Okay.
I'll try not to turn it up too much, though.
Oh. Yeah, thank you, Blacklock. Jesus. Every bloody time.
Is that tweeting it out or something?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. Yep. Alright, I'm gonna have to just kill... Could you
Some of
mention that
it-
I have to kill
okay.
the Twitch stream briefly?
Okay.
Because they can't hear me say that. So just, if you could say that out loud. Alright, stopping and starting. Alright. Thank you, Jill.
Mhm.
Stream restarted to hear my audio. Hopefully we should be right.
We'll find out in a few seconds.
And if it worked.
Oofalong, what's your Twitter handle?
Oofalong.
Okay.
I'm not very original.
Nicely done. That's what I
No,
want.
no, it's all about branding, buddy.
Good job. Exactly.
Unintentionally so, but it works. It works. Tia, were
Good to
those?
go.
Is that some of the new Star Wars stuff I saw in the background?
Oh,
It looked like, yeah.
yeah. Well, this is a gift that I got from Rub.
Aw.
Just some. I don't
Very
know if
cute.
it was from Force Friday, but probably not. And that's BB-8.
Very
Yay.
But I haven't opened him yet, which is
Right.
sad.
When you next week or something, you can give us a little on-camera demonstration.
I could guess it. Yeah.
I mean,
Mate.
you'd clear the desk a bit, and it wouldn't be a huge area, but it'd be nice to see.
Yeah. Other than always, I could do a unboxing and then a quick trial
Yeah.
video or something like that.
That's a
Right.
good idea.
I don't suppose there'll be a little elfling appearing on camera today.
Elfling.
Ari was suggesting you wouldn't mind having a look at her after we finish actually
Okay.
broadcasting.
Fair enough.
So,
Okay, I did a custom tweet. I hope it was correct.
oh,
Okay.
I didn't copy paste this. Okay.
nerdisms.
Yes, nerdisms. Oh yes, I did see BB-8 at an Apple store the other day. Probably, I think it was on Force Friday. Really cool, man.
Oh yeah.
Looks like so much fun.
It was my Father's Day present to myself because it was Father's Day on Sunday, so I just qualified to just it was only a few hours before that. So
Nice, perfect.
When is Mother's Day in Australia?
ooh, I should know that. I think it's July sometime. Let me quickly
Wow.
look that up because it's kind of embarrassing.
No, it's not relevant yet. Unless it was this week, you're fine.
No, it was a few months ago. It is July, isn't it?
Hang on.
It's in May. Well, that
Yeah.
was sort of close. Within a couple of
It seems like Mother's Day is universally in May, because
Okay.
I think in Europe
Ah.
it's also in May, but Father's Day seems to move from country to country. I don't know why.
months. That is weird.
All right, are we? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it was that silly
Yeah.
wanting
Re-entering
my
your
password
thing.
again sort of thing.
All right. Is everyone ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's make this happen.
All right.
All good.
Going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast. The engines of this war turn in our favor. This is episode 223, being recorded on Wednesday, September 9th, 2015. I'm your host, Chill, with our producer and co-host, Tio. Hi, Tio.
Hey guys.
And our guests today are Oofalong and Ivalon. So, Oofalong, how have you been? What you been up to?
I've been doing well. Yeah, I think the last time I was on the show, in fact, I know the last time I was on the show, I was also a guest with Ivalon. So is that intentional where you have to put us together because our names are so similar and that way you can just not have a script like that?
It was
Ivalon
entirely
forgot
a
first.
coincidence.
Sure. Well, so since the last time I've been on, been doing a lot of different things in Star Wars for certain. Trying to take advantage of 12x XP before that expires. So I have 2
Right.
class stories still to go. The Consular and the Gunslinger.
Very
So I'm not enjoying the Consular one very much at this point. I just finished Alderaan, which I think basically wraps up Chapter 2. So I don't care for the play style. I feel really squishy, and I don't find the story that compelling. So I don't mean to be like so Debbie Downer about that, but I think it's kind of it's not my favorite for certain.
Well, I was. I could talk about this during my week too, but I've done the Sage story a couple of times, and I always pick light side as a Jedi, but this time I'm doing it dark, which is kind of interesting, and it definitely changes the flavor. Are you going one way or the other?
Yes, I am going exclusively dark, just trying to be
Okay.
a jerk and kill as many people as possible. I do think it would be interesting to see the light side where, spoiler alert, you protect the people or you save them, you shield them, all that. I'm definitely not doing that, just killing them.
Right.
So it would be, I'm anxious to see where the story ultimately goes with those decisions.
Yes.
Yeah, so going dark side. I finally, just Monday, finally got my Dread Enhanced Rancor from Nightmare Dread Palace. I'd formed a kind of pickup raid group with some guildies, and we'd been farming the old operations to get the vanity items before 4.0, and potentially everything gets a lot harder. So at that point, I've got all my vanity items from all the operations. So that was kind of exciting. I collect the mounts. I think on one of the tunes, I think I have like 200 and some of the mounts. So it was nice to finally get that operation one.
Wow, that's a lot of mounts.
That's easy when you get all the cartel ones. I mean, that just drives the count up so high very quickly.
Still,
so
that's still a lot.
I still aspire to kill Revan here before 4.0, but not sure where that's going to happen, which is kind of an interesting thing, and Tia will relate to it more and more. As you have kids and distractions and real life things going on, it's tough to find time to log in consistently week over week and be able to do things. So I'm very much contemplating what's going to happen to the 4.0 in 4.0 with raiding for me. I primarily raid when I play this game or do operations, not even flashpoints, just exclusively raids. So not sure what'll happen come October 18th or whatever it is. So, and finally, I'm somewhat committed to the idea of decorating my strongholds. I've got 4 strongholds, all 100% unlocked, including the new Yavin 4, and I think I've put a total of like 20 decorations down, so I appreciate that's not that great. But I have a fair number. I think I have like 80,000 prestige points, so I have a fair amount of decorations to draw, and I just not doing that. I find it really overwhelming and a little just time-consuming and a little monotonous, and there's too many options almost. So do I turn this another half a degree here or 5 degrees, I suppose? So I think it's funny that people who were complaining that it felt too constrained, too boxed in. I can't imagine to have even more options how I would have been able to cope with that. So I don't know. That's the lengthy diatribe on what I've been up to lately.
Awesome. Okay. And Ivalon, how have you been?
Hey guys, yes, thank you for having me back. Oofalon, good to see you again. Yes, we rhyme. That was all done on purpose years ago. Just kidding. So I'm doing good, man. I just moved back to Los Angeles, so life has been a little bit nutty. Not as nutty as having a child, probably, like some people, but nutty enough. A little bit sick, so you'll have to. Yeah, what was that?
And this was you moved in order to help your music career?
Yeah, it's work-related stuff that I have to do here, exactly. And I have family back in Colorado, so I will probably be going back and forth, which is going to be great. And let's see, I did have a chance to play, and I'm going to kind of summarize some basically just cool stuff I did since the last time I talked to you guys, which I'm all excited about. And, of course, the game is kind of my procrastination, so I do find ways, oh yes, to log in.
Indeed.
I have been listening to the cast. You guys got me through the state of Utah at one point. Really fun. Oh, I listened to your live stream the other day in Utah. It was hilarious and awesome. So I did do, thanks to you guys, I'm working on my McKeb Staged Weekly achievements. I can confirm, I've heard some people misstate this. I don't know, I don't think it was here, but elsewhere. You do have to do the McKeb Staged Weekly on pub side and imp side to get both sets of achievements.
Yes.
On the pub side, it's making the connection. On imp side, it's well connected. If you get one, people get confused, I think, because the rep is shared, but the achievements are not. So sometimes people might think getting the pub version is enough, but it's not. Working on that, and it's a lot of fun.
What?
Sorry, this was
if I've got the imp side, will I get the deco, do you think, or do I have to do both the imp side and the pub side to get one of the decos?
Good question. I finished the pub side a long time ago, and I don't remember getting a deco, but that was about a year ago. Now, I'm interested to find out what happens when I do complete the imp side this week, and I will get back to you on that because I'm curious as well. You should get it on either side, I think, but maybe you've got to have them both. I don't know.
Yeah, that was my understanding of it as well, but I don't think they're awarding them until 4.0 drops.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Or close to it anyway, yeah.
Right.
Oh, that makes more sense, because I definitely don't remember getting it on the pub side. Okay, cool. I started up a chat channel. I hope everybody will maybe join this. It's actually, I've gotten quite a bit of interest already. It's called Revanite Walker World Boss, or Revanite Walker WB. So that's one big word, Revanite Walker WB. And that chat channel is specifically for sharing intel on when the walker spawns, because I'm sure we've all noticed it's like impossible right now to get kills on it. And some old friends and I pretty much figured out like 90% sure that it's bugged, and it never does respawn until an instance dies and an instance is reopened, or a new instance spawns. Kind of like the problem with the Datacrons on Rishi. Apparently, when a new instance spawns, you can jump in there and kill the world boss. So this chat channel allows people to say immediately, hey, I just jumped into instance 5 on Yavin. Hey, the walker is up. Everybody get over here. So if you join that channel on both sides, Imp and Pub, on every character, you're more likely to get a pull and get a kill and not miss out on it.
So that's on the Harbinger, obviously, but you're saying everyone should do this on their own?
Sorry, yes. I did start it on the Harbinger on Pub and Imp sides, and people have definitely been joining it. I've been kind of spamming it. I would love it if somebody out there could step up and start it on other servers. Yes, that'd be awesome. If you want to start it up, it's just Revanite Walker WB. So if you want to join that, just hit /C join, type that out, you'll be in. Next update, the Jar Jar Joyride. Excuse me. This is our highly tongue-through-cheek raid team, if you can call it that. And thank you for reading my summary on it the other day. That was quite nice of you, and well read, I must say. We've had a lot of fun. It's just it's beyond casual. It's fun. We show up. A lot of us show up early, 6 o'clock Pacific, Harbinger Pub side, and we go all evening until we pass out. And I join late, and we just do stuff. We had a lot of fun. We got through the Colossal Monolith story mode finally. It was really fun. We got some new friends in a chat channel, another chat channel called One Ken, and I recommend these guys. I forget what guild they are, but One O-N-E Ken K-I-N, One Ken, and it's just a group up channel basically. A way we could get a few pugs to go do Colossal Monolith. Then we got them down, and that was my first time, so that was a lot of fun. And that was, let's see, Fiona, Dekion, Dread, and Chinook, and others. If you want to join us, we would love to have you, even if you're not in our guild. On the Harbinger, just /C join Utini, and that will put you in our Utini, cross, or actually it's not cross faction, but you've got to join that on Imp side and Pup side. And you can chat at us, and we'd love to have you. We never really have a full 8 or 16. We've always got to get a couple pugs, so we would love to have more people. And again, that's Thursday evenings Pacific, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Imp side, Sukai Beru, I hope I'm saying his name right, is running that. Oh, 1 second, technical difficulty. Sorry, T.O., hold on.
All good.
Scary. 1 sec. Oh my god, it's beyond low tech in here. I'm sorry. Hang on a sec.
We can speculate just what happened.
Sorry. This is such a mess, you guys. I'm sick, and there's like stuff falling off, and I don't have. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Same thing on the Imp side. I believe it's our friend Sukai Beru. I hope he can maybe pipe up in chat. I believe he's the one running the fun group right now on Utini Imp side, which is of course Utini Rage, and it's a lot of fun. They run in the U.S. It's Saturday afternoons, kind of like all afternoon. Just show up. On the Aussie time, a lot of them are in Australia with UTO, and I'm not sure what time of day that is there.
I think it's morning on Sunday.
I think you might be right. It's about this time of day. You're correct. It's morning on Sunday. Yeah, so in the U.S., it's Saturday afternoons. Come to Imp side on the Harbinger. Just do a /C join Utini. That's our chat channel over there as well. And you can hit those guys up and come with them. They were really fun. That was when we did the Jump the Rock Shark achievement. And we ran around and killed a bunch of those monoliths. It was just like a blast. Yeah, we'd love more people to show up, so please do. Other than that, let's see. I did a lot of market stuff today and yesterday, and some crafting. I decided to see if I could. I've kind of felt like the market's like dead, but I decided to go ahead and like waste all my materials and do some crafting. So I'm doing all that. And lastly, my big brother decided to start the game, which is so awesome. He's a hardcore gamer. He's like, oh, this game's pretty cool. He joined on Jungma without asking me, and I was like, okay, well, that's not my server, but they're awesome, It's like, maybe go find, bad feeling guys or something. And I rolled the Jedi Knight over there to play with him. It was a lot of fun. But he loves PvP, and he was, like, really bummed out that he got to, like, Tatooine Outlaw Stand, and, like, nobody was there. And he hung out in Outlaw's Den for like an hour, and like nobody showed up. So he was all bummed out. And I was like, well, and so he switched to Harbinger. Now I'm not talking crap about anybody's server, but I will say that when he switched to Harbinger, which is PvE, and he rolled into Outlaw's Den, he saw like 4 or 5 imps. Whereas like on his server, he had only seen like 1 Imperial player the whole time. So I guess it's a bummer, but everybody is leaving their servers. It seems like I don't know. We'll see where this all plays out. But it's nice to have him on Harbinger. If you want somebody to run with, he's becoming an awesome healer. His name is Free Stater. Harbinger Pubside. Please please friend him, harass him. PvP him, he'll probably be running around flags, and he's a total newbie. You'll get a free kill. That's my brother. That is my week.
All right, wow. Awesome. Tio, how about your week? Well, this will be interesting.
Well, sort of. Firstly, I'll just mention for the Jar Jar Joyride, it is Saturday 5:30 p.m. Central, Saturday late afternoon, and for us in Australia, 8:30 a.m. on the East Coast, Sunday morning.
Oh, and that is actually I'm not sure the name of that raid team, actually. But it's not Jawa Joyride, it is Sukaiberu's group, which I don't know what he calls it.
Suki's group runs, and I'll just edit that around somehow.
Okay.
All right, now after, let's see, last week, the only thing I actually did in game was raid with our regular group. It's good to have the guys back together again, at least most of the team. And we just did something nice and easy. We did Nightmare Explosive Conflict.
Yeah.
Since some of us, for whatever reason, didn't have the achievements, so we just blew through that. Obviously, because it's level 50, it wasn't scaled up to level 55, which happened to Terror from Beyond, from that particular tier. So it was kind of pretty easy, particularly now. With the 2 tanks, the second encounter, for example, Suki, who's been running this fairly regularly, pointed out that it was Ord, wasn't it? Ord pointed out that you can just ignore the mechanics completely on the 2 tanks. You just kill the tank on the right and then kill the other one.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about anything. Don't worry about the ads. You just clean them up at the end, and wow. So yeah,
You can avoid the mechanics on Kephises as well. The Gift to the Masters, purple circle, like kiting all the circles around them at the end. Just stand in them. Doesn't matter.
We only had the 1 healer, just Mosk was healing, and he didn't have much to do, so was DPSing most of the time. So yeah, it's just a nice, easy run, quick of course. The minefield, that's always fun as well. Yeah, it'd be interesting to do that once it's been leveled up to 65 along with the rest. That should be nice and challenging, particularly in hard mode.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
With all those ads and stuff, it's mostly because they're so far below you in levels that they just miss all the time. So if they were actually programmed to hit, then it would probably still end up being a little nasty, but they're basically just missing 100% of the time, and it just there's no damage there.
Sometimes there's percentage-based mechanics that will just take X amount of your health.
Those actually hurt, yeah. Or reflected damage, the stuff like that. Yeah,
those are particularly nasty.
You can still kill yourself, even if the boss can't kill you.
That's
you can
right.
kill yourself.
Then after that, I became a father, as we've sort of been talking about leading up to this, and that was on Saturday night. Yeah, so it's all been happening, getting used to having my daughter in the house with us, and yeah, no, it's been fantastic.
That's exciting.
Can't say enough about that, but I won't bore anyone. It's just to say that thumbs up, great experience, and getting used to having less sleep than I'm accustomed to.
Yeah, all getting up in the middle of the night and all that.
Mm-hmm. Now we probably won't raid this week, but we're hoping to sort of get things back to normal starting next week.
Very cool.
So,
congratulations, dude.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Congrats.
And yeah, that's pretty much my week. Over to you, Chell.
All right. First, a shout out to the chat room. Got quite a few folks in here today. Add a lime to it. Blacklock Swotor, Bluestorm88, Calignu, Calls 1GN, Dark Edge Gaming, Darth Brundlefly, Diggity _82, Dread X, Elion D2, Force Chuckle, Fionha, Gahana, Evelon _Twitch, Jagged Fell, JP Chivalry, KMUFC 77, Knight and 30, Leo Brains, Mix Up Pixels, Nalia02, Oofalong is here. Rjar75, Rub is here as Rub75, Skaterox, Siskwayetzka, Sith Kitty, Snake Boot, Sukaiberu, Swotor Addict, Warlock, and your average nerdy gamer is here. In fact, I played with Nerdy the other day, actually. Started up a new character. I had that one slot left after, going through and making a bunch of new characters. Once upon a time, it was to get that special box and get the statue, and that ended up leaving a slot open. Briefly used it to show the Togruta stuff going on, and it was just empty. Really nothing going on with it. So decided to make up a new character and started streaming with her. Nerdy joined me for most of the first planet, and she's going to be Dark Side Sage. Her name is Chillbones. And yeah, so I like that one. And it's different seeing the consular story from the dark perspective, as we spoke about earlier. It's actually, I found it very difficult for me to actually do this way because I am used to doing the light side Jedi stuff. So, and it definitely feels different than, it's not the same as playing on the Imperial side. It's not playing, the same as playing a dark Imperial character or a light Imperial character. It's definitely its own bizarre flavor of the story. So kind of digging that. And also Tython, the starting planet, is really busy. And it seemed like, at least when I was on, one of the instances was kind of really laggy and buggy. There was like 40 people on it. Everyone was complaining about lag, and I certainly noticed it as well. So I went to 2. And instance 2 was fine, even though there was like 70 people. It was really full.
This has happened before. Exactly that. The one instance on Tython got screwed up somehow.
Yeah.
Curious.
So yeah, if you do start up a new character and you're on Tython and it's and you notice lag, then yeah, just as soon as you can switch instances. And even that was tricky. It was like I was trying to do it and it didn't seem like it was casting. I just waited, and finally it looked,
that's unplayable.
Yeah, it's pretty. It was pretty brutal. So yeah, So she is now up to. She'll be doing Tatooine next. So going pretty well there. And yeah, so it's going quick and it's a lot of fun actually. And so. She's Chiss, which I chose because I think she'll look interesting when she pales out as she gains dark side points. So that'll be cool. And also this weekend It was this weekend, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. It was Redna and Ordu's It's a Trap podcast. We guested on that. The subject was the Clone Wars movie. Am I going back too far? Is this from the other week?
It was last Friday, yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I'm getting my days mixed up, but anyway. Okay, that's right. Yes, it was Saturday or Friday or whenever it was. Apparently, I'm completely brain dead right now.
Holiday weekend. So
which actually makes sense. Yeah, the whole holiday thing threw me off, and then last night was okay, but the 2 nights before that were brutal. I hardly got any sleep. So my brain is very fuzzy. Sorry about that. So yeah, okay. I guessed it on Redna and Ordu's It's a Trap podcast. The subject was the Star Wars The Clone Wars movie. And although I saw it in the theaters and was disappointed at the time, when I saw it again, in review to do the podcast, it was much better as sort of a Netflix free movie, because that way, the expectations are more proper for what it actually is. Sure. Also, yeah, and also, of course, I had gotten used to the highly stylized Clone Wars art style and so on. So, once you do that, it's actually a lot better, and it was actually pretty interesting to talk about. So, if you were really disappointed in it at the time, but you have free access to it now, give it a try. And that should be coming out in the next few days sometime. It just depends on when the editing is done, I believe. So that was a lot of fun. And so that's it. That brings us to the tip of the week. We have 3 of them this time. I'll go ahead and start us off with one from Ricky. Ricky writes, like many others, I've been running through the McKeb staged weeklies to get the achievements before they're gone. My tip is going to sound obvious to most, but lately I've run into a number of people who have forgotten about it completely. When trying to solo a heroic mission, don't forget about your heroic moment. Funny how those have similar names. Make sure you have all your legacy heroic abilities within easy reach and pop it after you start a difficult fight, but before you're below 2/3 health. The healing alone can see you through either a boss fight or 2 multi-NPC fights, as long as they're close together. Combined with Unity and GSI's healing satellites, the only mission which should give you any real trouble is False History, the one where you need to push a bunch of buttons before the poison gas kills you. It's still going to be easier if you can find a partner, but that can be challenging when not all the missions are available to everyone at the same time. True enough.
Yeah, cool. Alright, our next tip is from Darksplat, and for once we've actually had an audio submission. What Darksplat said, that's Jeremy, who's been on the show before, I've recorded an audio tip, which is about a spreadsheet I made to track my Flashpoint and Operations achievements. Please share around and enjoy, and I will upload that spreadsheet and make it available through our website. But here is Jeremy, and I'm going to be just playing this through my phone for now, and I'll include it properly in the recorded podcast.
Cool.
Hi everyone, listening to OotiniCast this week. It's Jeremy here, aka Darksmoke. I've got a tool for everyone. I recently made up a spreadsheet that tracks all of my achievements for flashpoints and operations. Because in SWAR 4.0, we're going to actually have flashpoints move from their standard hard modes, the story modes, to a story flashpoint, a tactical flashpoint, a tactical hard flashpoint, and stuff for 60, stuff for 65, stuff for 50s. So I thought, geez, how have I gone with the old ones? It turns out I did pretty badly. So I've been quite frantically catching up on all those stories and hard mode flashpoints, trying to get all those achievements, and I needed some way to track them. So I've created this tool. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. It's got heaps of colours in it. It's got instructions and it's got a chart. I hope it all works out for you. Keep playing SWAR, guys. I'll be back soon.
So the impression that it wasn't very loud, so sorry about that.
Yeah, for some reason that was really, really quiet. I can make out some of it, though. Yeah, it sounded like he was explaining why he created it and some of the details about it, so that'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be in the actual downloadable.
Okay,
so
awesome.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. And I'll read our last one, Joel.
Sure.
Our last tip is from Knight. One of these days, I'll think of a tip while I'm not driving, but today is not that day. I'm now parked next to a water canal, a ton of small sunflowers on both sides of it, so at least the view is nice. Most of my tips will be PvP related, since I PvP almost as much as I drive, so here it is. There is a skill called Diversion, or maybe it's a talent now, I don't remember, for gunslingers that will forcibly turn off an enemy's sniper cover. Most snipers like to stay behind their team and snipe at you. This is a very effective way to help your team be able to pull them in or jump to them and proceed to smash their guns into tiny pieces. This is also very useful in Huskball if you're running with a friend that is a Guardian or Vanguard tank, since most snipers seem to think that they can safely sit at the ledges to pew-pew at people without the risk of letting the team use them as scoring checkpoints. There's a thought. Since
true.
my main is a Guardian tank, here is an example of how I enjoy using this if I have a gunslinger buddy with me. If there is a sniper on the middle upper ledge, near that strange light pole thing, and I'm in range to leap, I have my gunslinger buddy turn off the sniper's cover. I then proceed to use that very surprised sniper as my personal ticket to the goal line by leaping to him, pushing him onto their goal line platform, leaping to him again, and then casually hutball power walking into the goal line while the sniper is trying to figure out if he should charge me for a delivery fee.
Nice.
Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Thank you again for the podcast, and back to driving I must get. Happy connecting.
Very clever, yeah. Because especially with that one, with that one Guardian, yeah. When you jump to someone, there's a certain talent that when you push them, it resets your leap. You can leap to them immediately again. So, That's why
I
you
love
get
how
two jumps in a row like that.
Oh, sorry. I love how Knight actually set the scene for his tip of the week. He's like, "Well, I'm
Yeah.
driving, and there's lovely sunflowers on both sides, and now my tip." Thank you, Knight.
All right, by random allotment, the winner is Knight. So congratulations, Knight. Yeah, I know you've sent in several tips, and this one's the winner. So congratulations, you're the winner of an M83R droid or Tonfon pet code, courtesy of BioWare, and a new OotiniCast provided cartel market pack from the latest shipment. If you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com by next Tuesday. And that will bring us to the holo feed. Tio?
All right, let's start with the Gree event. Guess what? They're back, and as usual, they didn't give us any advance warning. So anyway, they're here, and they will be here until next Tuesday, 15 September. So, go and Gree and stuff if you still need the Grey Helix tokens.
Man, I just want to get to where I have every single achievement completely done so that I can stop ever worrying about going. It's like, it's really cool, but I've done it so many times.
So, if you need some guidance, Dolphy has her guide, etc. So yeah, I'll link to that. So that's something to do this week. Now let's just talk a few coffee updates, sort of following on from last week and from the companion live stream when that was. Firstly, they mentioned that the choices you have made in your class story will impact you as you journey through Knights of the Fallen Empire. And they went on to say, I think the best example I can give without spoiling, while still being general, is something we talked about on the stream. We won't be forgetting things like the relationships you have built with your companions.
Right.
So, I guess if you married a particular character, maybe they will actually remember that fact and allude to it as you in the future as you go through the story.
Right. Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see how that manifests in coffee. They've always said you can alienate your supposed in-game spouse or whatever, but what does that mean from a story perspective? What will I miss out on because I chose to flirt with Lana while I supposedly was married to Mako or something like that?
Well, the real question there is it an actual substantial impact on gameplay in that there's a whole bunch of stuff you can't do because of the decisions you made, or is it purely superficial and cosmetic? That is, you might miss out on a line of dialogue or something like that. And just how complex can this get? I mean, and how many times will these things manifest in the story going forward? You can imagine they do it for flavor, but this kind of branching decision tree can get really, really, really deep if you get too carried away. So I assume they haven't.
Seems like a safe assumption.
Yeah. Right. Or if they branch out, they have to kind of branch back and reconnect, as opposed to just branching unto infinity. Yeah.
But still, if you do it right, you give the illusion that it's actually quite deep. So
exactly.
Let's just keep that going. What we also had was a bit more information talking about how they're going to streamline the leveling experience. Now, they have mentioned that, sort of following on from the whole 12 times XP, they're going to be doing something similar in coffee. They haven't really given us any details. Now, what they have said now, that if you start a brand new level 1 character, you still play through your class story and the planetary arcs, etc. And yeah, all they're really saying is streamlining. So, but they do mention there explicitly your class story and the planetary arc. That is like the single mission series that runs through a planet. The implication there is that maybe some of those side missions you can skip if you choose. It's a shame, but it does imply the whole streamlining means it's going to let you do it quicker, just like you can with 12 times XP, though it's sounding like not quite as quick.
Yeah, but I hope that there is still a way to turn it off, because I do have at least one more character that I want to do on the imp side with every single mission, right? And if they don't have a way, like right now we've got that module that turns off the leveling bonus, and that allows us, like you, RTO, to go the slow way. If they are going to build that in, it sounds like they're going to make that in to the leveling experience, then will there still be a way to turn it off?
Let's hope. Or at least make those, don't take any missions away. Even if you have to go back and do them later. But then again, it's no fun if they aren't challenging.
Right.
I assume they've thought of this.
Pretty dull if they're all gray and you get 5 XP for them when you're done.
Exactly.
Totally.
What if they did something to make them challenging, so you could enjoy all of the missions, regardless of what level you are?
Hypothetically.
I mean, no. Well, I guess I've never understood the argument that I don't want to over level things or I need to do this originally. So your position, Tio, it doesn't make sense to me. So I'm just trying to figure out what do you feel like you're missing out on? Even if you get 5 XP, no XP, 5 million XP from doing a heroic on Alderaan, nothing's stopping you from doing it. So how does that hinder your gameplay by being over-leveled?
I guess it removes the incentive, which may imply that maybe I'm not doing it for the right reason. But I feel like if I'm not getting experience for it, or at least some kind of meaningful reward, and I feel like it probably should be challenging, otherwise it's just you going through the motions, really. But yeah, you're right. There's nothing to stop you going back and experiencing the story, at least without all that. Yeah. I have to do some soul searching in that regard, I think.
I understand if you're looking for a challenge, or I guess part of it, you're not rating the hardest content in the game, so you want a challenge, but not that much of a challenge then? So that's where I just feel like the argument starts to fall apart and confuse me. So.
Well, it's more if you do something at level that it's not just trivial. So I don't want it to be trivialized, but I actually want to be able to use my abilities without just everything dying immediately as soon as I sort of breathe on them. That kind of thing.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. I have to say, I mentioned that my brother just started the game, and he's a creative guy, smart, loves games, and I was just excited that he wanted to try this. But one of the things he said before he even hit level 20, he did it, free to play, the slow version of leveling, and so he's maybe out leveled by 1 or 2 levels higher than his class story, and he's like, as a new player, they don't understand why necessarily. He's just like, how come this is so easy? Everything's just dying, just melting all the time. And I feel like that's sort of, it breaks immersion, it makes the game less challenging and less fun. So I don't know. They hopefully are aware of this, and maybe with part of the streamlining process, maybe they'll address that. I hope.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't leveled, or when I leveled my first 2, maybe 3 tunes, and especially Ooflong, my first tune, I did every single quest on every planet that I visited. I didn't leave the planet until the mission log was empty.
Right.
And I don't remember at any point any of those feeling trivial to me. They were something I wanted to play through the story and what was going on. Certainly some of the heroics, so even if I over-leveled of them, maybe I could solo the heroic 2s, but needed some help on the heroic 4s or something. So I haven't done enough leveling since they streamlined the process through 12x XP, but so I guess I don't know what you're missing out on, but I guess the content's still there for you to play through.
Yeah.
You're just not getting the XP. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not going to convince you guys that you're wrong, but you are.
No, Oopalong, Oopalong, we're all kind of saying the same thing, but the thing is that the way 12x works right now, I think, is the perfect solution, because subscribers can turn it on and turn it off. Otherwise, if you're new, if it's your first character, you should be kind of maybe even required to do more content to stay leveled. That's one of the most immersive, awesome things about the low levels, is that my brother even said the same thing. He's like, oh, it's so cool. I just click on every triangle and I do all the missions and I'm completing everything. That's how I think a lot of people play that way. And so right now, the veterans have the option to turn on or off 12 XP, and that solves the problem. So I don't really understand this desire to bake it in.
I guess another way of thinking about it is SWTOR particularly is all about the journey in the leveling experience. And if you want a power level just to get a character, that's fine. And obviously I can do that as a subscriber, and I could get all the XP boosts and whatever else and just blow through it and in no time. But again, the whole point is to just enjoy it.
Right.
And that means doing all the missions. But if you take away the XP incentive, I just feel like I'm wasting my time. So I want to be able to enjoy everything, but not completely over-level it and make it trivial.
But that's what I'm saying. So you, as a subscriber and veteran, should be given the choice, and you do right now have the choice.
Yes.
Exactly,
And
as a choice. But
choice.
if they go back and bake it in, You won't have the choice unless
That
they give it
makes
to
it
you.
more problematic. Yep.
Yeah.
So you say you wanted. Oh, go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say for BioWare, I think there's a tension there because I agree with you, Tio, that SWTOR is about the story and experiencing all the different side missions and learning about the worlds and so on. At some point, though, because we keep adding levels and levels and levels, if you're a new guy to the game and you want to get to the end game so that you can actually do operations with friends and so on. The tension is that those people want to get to end level so they can actually do content. So, but on the other hand, there's going to be a free one level 60. So I don't know. Maybe it really isn't all that necessary.
You could say what end game content,
there's-
but
yeah, that
we
too.
actually have, especially for new players, you have a complete range of operations. All of them challenging, all that are real legitimate hard modes for level 65. So there's just a vast amount of stuff to do for us old fellas who've done it all effectively.
Yeah.
Not so
So
much,
that's actually
but-
what I was going to say. You say it's about the journey, and I agree it is about the journey. But what I think the game offers is enough options so that you can do your journey however you want to. So if you want to level through just class story, and then do your PvP daily, I suspect you'll be at the appropriate level that you're supposed to be at each planet. Maybe you hate PvP, but you want to do your class story in flashpoints, and so you do the daily flashpoint group finder or whatever as you're leveling up. You're going to get to that same point. So at this point, you've ignored all of the planetary content, and so you've had a different journey. What I think's great about what they have right now is there is so much content to do to get you to that end game point. There's so much content on your journey. They've made it so that you can pick and choose what you want to do. You don't have to do it all. And I think for a lot of us, at least I'll speak for myself, as like a completionist coming into this game, it felt like I needed to do everything. And doing everything puts you so far ahead of the curve that it became like, oh my gosh, I think this is too much. So maybe that's one of the challenges is they actually gave you too much content to do while leveling to keep you satisfied, whether it was single player, group, or PvP. So maybe just another way to look at it.
Maybe another way to solve the problem is to have a way of switching XP off. So you can actually, if you really want to experience everything without over leveling.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I feel like we all love the stories. That's one reason why we've stuck around, because regardless of the other things that are maybe lacking right now. I'm trying to be hopeful, but immersion is like my favorite thing in the game, and I do feel like they did an excellent job with Vanilla SWTOR on that. When I hear things like, oh, we're going to be all about story, I get excited, but then they say things like, oh, actually, you can't really kill your companion, or actually, if you kill your companion, you can still run with your companion. It's sort of like, I don't want them to ruin immersion. That's kind of my worry right now.
It becomes a choice then. You can stay as immersed as you like, or not. But even just having that option kind of breaks it.
Right, exactly.
Right.
All right, let's just move on a little bit. We had some more concept art being sent out from SWTOR's social media, Twitter and Facebook. One I picked out there was of Zakul showing their ridiculously tall buildings, or maybe it's just a really tiny planet.
So
Either
cool.
way,
Poking out of the atmosphere.
yeah, that's just silly. But can you just imagine how much material would be required to build those things? If you actually calculate it, it's obscene. But whatever, it looks fantastic.
Are you speaking from experience that you actually calculated it, David?
I know how much would be required to build space elevators, because I've seen those numbers. It's just... So actually building an actual skyscraper that tall? No. Unless it's a really small planet. So, in which case, probably not so bad. Anyway.
Tio, it's funny that you say that, because I'm sure you guys have all seen the Rogue One teaser where they show the TIE fighters flying through the jungle, and then it pans up to the Death Star. Short teaser for the movie that's coming. And somebody said the exact same thing that you did about the Death Star is like too big. So in other words, it's like this huge panorama of the Death Star, and everybody's like, wait, how small is this planet we're on? It's like they shrunk the planet to make the Death Star like awesome.
I
Same thing.
read somewhere recently talking about just how many people could actually fit into a Death Star. And given it's a small moon, yeah, that's a lot
Right,
of
right.
people. Or maybe
Yeah,
it's
it's
just mostly machinery. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the reactor.
Oh, the whole place is filled with...
Certainly the second one had a huge core that was nothing but the power generation.
Yeah.
But
Right.
and that would be similar with the original one, but still, yeah, the fact that it's 3D and not just talking about the surface of a little world, but you're talking about actually going all the way through in
Let's
layers.
not ruin it with
crazy.
reality. It's just cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next, let's talk about the blogs that they said they would publish last week, and then they did for the Jedi Knight and the Sith Marauder. They did the 2 story blogs for both classes on each faction. Obviously, we won't touch that. It's just
Right.
directly from the SWTOR Encyclopedia. If you have a copy of that, but whatever. If you don't want to be spoiled, don't read it. If you want a refresher, then it probably is good. Though, personally, I'd just save it and play through it, if you haven't already. And then, probably the more interesting are the class changes for the Jedi Knight and Sith Warrior, and they did both advanced classes for both of the mirrors. Specifically, well, for the pub side, that's Sentinels and Guardians. For the imp side, that is Marauders and Juggernauts. So, now, Ifalong, who plays a Sentinel, is along to help us dive into that in more detail. I play a Guardian tank, so I can talk to that at some level. Though the changes, if you run through them, they're really not that substantial. They actually haven't tweaked that much, which may or may not be a good thing. So the first thing to mention is the new ability that both advanced classes will get, and they call it either Blade Blitz or Mad Dash. And what it effectively does is it's like a sort of run, rather than leaping, along the ground, damaging everything in your path for 20 meters, and giving you 100% defense while that occurs. And my first thought as a Guardian tank was that would be sort of great for tank swaps if you've got 2 mobs in 2 different locations.
Yeah.
But
another gap closer.
it sounds like sort of a PvP oriented ability, but yeah, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. It sounds like a PvP ability, particularly because with the Guardian tank, at least, you should have your intercede or your charge to do a swap or to redirect or to pick up a new target. So it feels like let's increase your mobility, let's make it easier for you to stay on target, which is fine. A little disappointing that it's not an individual or an advanced class specific ability. I think you could have more unique things, or you're going to have unique things, I suppose, when you do it that way. But to just have a general Sith Warrior or Jedi Knight ability, it's kind of it'd be interesting to see. I don't know if they've talked about how much damage it does, what you're supposed to be doing with it, but if it does a lot of damage, it will be very interesting to use in a PvE setting because it'll effectively push you out of melee range and cause all these other problems. So I guess we'll have to see a little bit on that. Not sure how that'll, how useful it'll actually be then.
Right.
I'm looking forward to seeing the blooper reels of people popping it right in front of a cliff.
I have to say, I hope this is one of those things that they have thought ahead on. I mean, they don't always do that. But yeah, how is this going to affect rating exactly? Is it something they're going to have to balance out later?
Yeah. All right, let's go into some details, and we've got a feel for how all of the classes are going to change in the way that they're changing around when you get utility points. They've all just sort of been moved up a bit, and when you actually get your discipline-specific active abilities, those have also all been moved up a bit. For the active abilities, they're granting them starting at level 10 every 16 levels. So that means, like, for your third ability, you get that level 42 rather than 41, and your fourth ability at level 58 rather than 57. So that's how they're coping with the extra 5 levels being added, since the level cap is raising itself to level 65, so they're just spreading The active abilities and when you get utility points out a bit more. And also the passive abilities are likewise moving. They now happen every 4 levels, beginning at level 12. So again, that only really changes the level 59 passive, which you will now get at level 60. And you will also get a new passive at level 64. So that's just shifting everything a little bit. So you won't really notice that much of a change.
I never really...
Go ahead.
As I said, I never really thought about or noticed that that the discipline-specific active abilities come every 16 levels. That sounds like a lot of playtime and a lot of planets in between. I guess I don't notice it as I've been leveling on 12x XP, but gosh, that sounds like a long time before you pick up another ability. And I appreciate you still get your class abilities or advanced class abilities that you're training, but in terms of like getting into the flow of your discipline, it really does come out slowly.
Yeah. So you
even on live, but
you get your key one early or first from memory. Or usually the defining ability is the first one that you get at level 10 or whatever, and then...
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It does spread them out.
It makes me wonder if they're going to also, speaking of the training, if they're going to spread out the training ones as well, or if they're just going to add another rank like they did in the past. But if they could end up doing what they're doing with these utility points and just stretch those out as well.
I suspect... So the reason you have to retrain every ability is it's got some math behind it, and it's like expected damage or expected healing calculation. Maybe not the healing one, but the damage. So there's a component that's based on the level that you last train the ability. So that's why when you hit level 50 or then level 55, 60, you retrained every ability. There's a standard health amount, I think is what it's technically called, that is dependent on when you last train that level. So I imagine as we go from 60 to 65 that we'll see a little bit or a few extra abilities being trained along that path, but at 65 we'll retrain on everything.
Fair enough. Like
so
I say,
why
unless
didn't
they
scale
just
them all by level? Why did they have those jumps?
Well, it's just so you'll notice that you don't train the ability every levels, right? So like your basic attacks never moves off of a level 1, but every other attack, I don't know, you train it 5 times, 6 times. It's just a way, one of the levers they have to control how much damage you're doing throughout the leveling process.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the reason they all got pushed to the level cap is simply because any one ability is usually leveled less than every 5 ability, or less than 5 ability levels. So when they only have 5 to work with, they kind of all tend to be pushed right towards the end.
All
They
right.
could rebalance and stretch that all out though, like I said. So
Well,
if they want
they
to,
could all make it automatic, so you don't have to train them. That would be nice as well. 'Cause
right?
no reason
Well,
they
yeah.
can't.
Absolutely, because in fact, like the ones that are based on your tree don't. They just automatically scale up.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, they absolutely could do that.
Sure.
Yep.
All right. Let's go into specifics now. For the Jedi Knight, Master Strike has been renamed. The only ability apparently has been renamed to Blade Dance. So instead of Master Strike, it is Blade Dance.
Why?
Well, so the why is
To fit the animation.
rather interesting. It's because of the word strike. Because there's a number of other abilities like strike, sundering strike, warding strike that generate focus.
And I guess they didn't. Their
Focus.
first choice was Master Dance. So they're like, okay, Blade Dance.
Anyway, on the Sith warrior side, they don't have to worry about it because it doesn't. The equivalent word is assault, and ravage, which is what their version of Master Strike Blade Dance is called. Doesn't. Yeah. Anyway,
And that's-
whatever.
we've-
They have renamed it. I wonder if that was really confusing anyone. Honestly.
I appreciate it.
We've solved the mystery for why all the cool kids play Ipside.
Yeah, I do like the idea that that the names actually help you figure out what the abilities are doing. 'Cause there's an awful lot of them in the game now.
True.
I do agree with that. I like that you can reconcile between tool tips and what's actually happening. I wonder how this translates to the different languages that the game is in. I mean, obviously, in English, Blade Dance is a potentially questionable title for an ability, especially a signature ability for Jedi Knights. I'm not sure. If we're thinking Obi-Wan Kenobi is out there doing a blade dance, I think it kind of brings a chuckle to everybody.
It's like Anakin's signature saber twirl.
Oh, well.
Yeah. It's done now, so I assume they probably won't change that. But anyway, now, what they appear to have done with all of the individual disciplines is added a single new passive, which they mentioned that we get at level 64. Was
64.
At level 64. And yeah, okay, so let's go through Annihilation and for the Marauder and Watchman, which is the left hand or top discipline, depending on how you want to think about it. And basically, it makes all your bleeds and burns deal 10% more damage for 3 seconds after you activate it. Percentage and duration subject to change. So it makes your burns burn more, which is kind of essential for Annihilation and Watchmen.
So this is the dot spec for Marauders and Sentinels.
Yep.
We have 3 dots that we would apply. So that's great because we'll get is for a lot of our damage. I think our dots currently tick every 2 seconds, and then 3 seconds, and then most likely 3 seconds for Deadly Saber or Overload Saber. So, absent any changes to the other abilities, we're basically talking about 3, maybe 4 dot ticks that will get an extra, 10% or whatever more damage. So, I guess that's something, but for the penultimate, level, it doesn't seem like the coolest thing ever.
Exactly.
I don't know what I was expecting. To be honest, as we look ahead to the other ones here, it seems that's the standard where the level 64 stuff is not going to be significantly impactful, which I suppose makes sense as you're trying to do operations beginning at level 50 or 55.
Yep.
So.
Alright, so moving on. So, speaking of Ravage and Blade Dance, it stacks a bleed/burn on the target, stacks up to 3 times. And each time Ravage and Blade Dance deals damage, it will add a new stack to the bleed and burn. Bleed or burn. Deals damage when applied. Each time a stack is added, every 3 seconds for 9 seconds after Ravage and Blade Dance finishes adding stacks. So, as Ufalong noted, it does kind of give you a pretty solid dependency on Ravage and Blade Dance. I mean, it would be a concrete part of or a permanent part of your rotation. You would expect you got to more or less do it on cooldown.
Yeah, it already is. You want to use Ravage and Blade Dance in one of your gore windows, specifically your Berserker Zen powered gore precision slash window.
Yes.
For PvE, this is probably fine. I don't think it'll make that much difference. In a PvP setting, because that's often the ability that is countered, or where you'll get knocked back, stunned, something, because it's a huge amount of damage coming in, and you've got a 30% lock rate boost, so in like 2 seconds you're getting a ton of damage. So it seems odd to me that they're increasing the damage associated to the only interruptible, everything else is an instant that we have, so, and this isn't interruptible, but you can still be stunned, knocked back, etc. So it seems kind of like a strange choice. The other thing that I think will be really interesting to watch with this one is it says when deals damage when applied. So there's up to 6 hits coming out of Ravage or Blade Dance, 3 main hand, 3 offhand hits.
Yep.
But the offhand has a lower accuracy or a lower 2-hit chance, so we won't. Usually it's around like 70%. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that actually plays out, because you could see potentially, depending on how much damage this does, you could have just 3 stacks on the target, or you could have 6 stacks. So effectively doubling the damage that it does based on some favorable RNG. That's maybe a little too RNG dependent then.
For me, the interesting thing for this one in the spec is in PvP, you now have a dot that you're applying as a natural part of your rotation, so you don't have to remember to dot up stealthers to force them to purge. So it's now part of your rotation.
That's a good point.
Alright, so that was Carnage in combat, and the last discipline is Fury or Concentration, and their keystone ability is a Fury Strike or Concentrated Strike, makes their smash hit 15% harder, or the other one. So, pretty much as you would expect. I assume the numbers work out roughly the same in terms of DPS output, don't know, but yeah, they're not going to make one particularly overpowered, you would hope.
Right. Doesn't sound like it's enough to bring the Smash Monkey spec back, but it's definitely more smashy. So that'll be fun.
Now let's talk briefly utilities. I won't go through them in detail, but there is one more in each of the 3 tiers: Skillful, Master, and Heroic.
That's
so
a lot.
They are adding utilities. This does not appear to replace them, so it is a straight addition. So you just got more choices, but as Ufalong points out, you got the same number of points to spend.
True.
Yeah. So we
still
had
more options. Still, more options is better.
If they're compelling options.
Yes, of course. They have to be balanced. So what are they, Tio?
Do we really want to go through them?
I'll do the quick version.
I kind of do.
So you get the tier 1, you get immunity for 6 seconds when you use Saber Ward. So pretty cool. The class suffers from a lot of stuns and knockbacks, things like that. You get immunity to all that while Saber Ward's up for 6 seconds. The next is once you use Inspiration Bloodthirst, you gain 12 resource points, which is the cap for us. So great, you get a full resource bar. I don't know how often we'll use that. And then our new ability here, this Mad Dash, Blade Blitz, will purge immobilizing effects. You can use it. It'll purge slows. It's kind of like that standard one that a lot of people seem to have.
Yeah,
that,
it turns into...
this is another escape.
Yeah, it turns into the Force Sprint ability for like sages.
Nice. Yeah, okay.
Very cool.
Not too bad. Now let's see for this. Now let's look at the other advanced class, Juggernauts and Guardians, which it looks all kind of the same as you would expect. Though obviously it has the tanking discipline, which is Immortal or Defense. We get a new passive skill, of course, which is the Ravage or Blade Dance. Now grants a stacking increased defense chance with each hit and stacks up to 3 times. Each stack increases defense chance by 2%, up to 60% with 3 stacks, if you can do the math. And this effect lasts for 6 seconds. And each hit refreshes duration, so it lasts 8.7 seconds total. 8.7, while scaling up to full strength with no alacrity. And then the full strength portion lasts a full 6 seconds. So that's good. And this
Pretty
means
solid,
that as a Guardian tank, I don't actually use Blade Dance in my rotation on a regular basis, just when I want a bit of extra damage. Now I've got a reason to. In fact,
totally
I
have a
probably will
reason
do it
to.
whenever it's on cooldown, off cooldown.
Yep.
So
Pretty much.
Yeah,
it
I always,
makes it solid.
I always thought Master Strike was one of the top Jedi Knight abilities. Is that only for some utilities or for some disciplines?
Annihilation Watchman in this for Ascent would never Master Strike if you're trying to maximize.
Yeah,
DPS.
no, they would. It's always been a
As an
consistent. You would use it on cooldown. So they changed it in 3.0. So it used to have a 30-second cooldown and do more damage. Now with the 18-second cooldown, it is instrumental in everybody's rotation, just based on the fact that it does more damage than the other options, and it's free. So it doesn't have a resource cost compared to everything else. So it's definitely worth doing. But it's also one of the first things that gets cut or delayed in a movement-heavy situation or in a PvP setting where you have to constantly be moving. So
Okay. What else we got? Then for Vengeance and Vigilance, one of the middle DPS discipline. What have they got? Each balloon, another passive obviously. Each bleed and burn you have active on an enemy target increases the damage you deal with bleeds and burns by 5%. This effect only stacks once per bleed and burn type, up to 3 times. So it's kind of similar to what we've already heard. And they do say
Well,
it's
kind of,
actually-
but yeah, this one's actually rewarding you for getting all of your bleeds on the target, because it becomes really strong at that point. Whereas if you can only keep 1 or 2 up, it's not going to do nearly as much.
Note on an enemy target. Of course, they mention explicitly that you can't like have all 3 types on several targets and have it all stacked beyond that. It is just 1 per type of the
Right.
3, so you get the 3.
That would be awesome.
It would be awesome. But yeah, you're right, Joel. So that's kind of cool.
Hmm.
And lastly, the Smash spec. What's their version? That's interesting. The Rage/Focus build makes Raging Burst or Focus Burst, and Smash/Force Sweep grants 5% damage reduction for 6 seconds, as opposed to boosting the damage that your Smash does.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's-
So it is a DPS spec, but they're giving it more damage protection. I don't know.
You heard it here first. Guardians are squishy. So
Cool. All right, and the utilities, again, the same deal, 1 each in the 3 tiers. For skillful, Ufalong, do you want to summarize these, or you didn't really look at them?
I didn't really look at these, but I can. You can take the first one. I'll do the second.
Okay. At the skillful tier, we've got Unshackling Rage or Focus Freedom. What happens is when you activate it, or when you activate Enrage or Combat Focus, it removes the movement impairing effects like immobilizers and slows, and increase the Jugs or Guardian's movement speed by 50% for the next 6 seconds. Oh, that's kind of cool. So Enrage and Combat Focus, which does that is a focus builder, is it not?
Yes, the
Or-
CC breaker.
Yeah, I use
Yeah.
yeah. Will also remove movement impairing effects. That's that is cool, actually. If I was ever going to PvP with my Guardian.
And increases the movement speed, so it almost becomes like force sprint as well.
By 50%.
50% for 6 seconds is a lot of extra movement.
Yeah, it is.
The only difference, of course, is that this is a much longer cooldown than for sprint.
Now in the next tier, the Masterful tier, your Force, Charge, or Leap enables your next Vicious Throw or Dispatch, which is your Terminate ability, executability, to be used on a target with any health level 15 seconds after activation. That's kind of nice, I've got to say.
Plus,
That is nice.
presumably you'd be able to leap to somebody, push them back, then
Yeah,
leap
leap
again.
again,
Right?
yeah.
So you're getting 2 there in quick succession.
I wonder, would it work like
True,
that? Or
but
would
I
there be
think-
some sort of
I
internal cooldown?
Well, I think dispatch
Yeah.
itself has a 6-second cooldown.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Interesting. Well, okay, yeah. So the combat version of this, or the combat buff that allows you to use dispatch on a target at any level for 15 seconds, it resets the cooldown, although it has a 20-second lockout. So yeah, I suppose you won't be able to do that then. Interesting.
But you'll be able to
Sad.
do it basically once per leap, because I think that is roughly about the cooldown of the leap itself. Assuming you
I
don't
think it's
knock them back in and then reset it.
yeah. The ability, I think, Vicious Slow Dispatch has a 10-second cooldown.
Nice.
And
The final tier, the third tier, is the same as the Marauder one. It's
Pretty much
Marauder Sentinel
identical.
1, where your new ability, Blade Dance, or no, sorry, Mad Dash, Blade Blitz, can be used while immobilized and purges immobilizing and slow effects and everything else. So,
Right. It doesn't say everything else. It doesn't say it hinders. It doesn't say it remove hinders. So I'm thinking Trooper and Bounty Hunter is looking stronger and stronger. There's a lot of extra mobility in these.
so they've confirmed that this week they're going to be doing Imperial Agent and the Smuggler, and then
Cool.
the week after that, Bounty Hunter and Trooper, and then finally Inquisitor and Consular in terms of revealing the class story summaries and the class changes. So as
Yeah.
far as our Jedi Knight and Sith Warrior goes, my overall impression is more of the same with a new kind of cool ability, but overall playstyle will not change. So it looks like they haven't done any kind of massive revamp, certainly for these guys. It's pretty much business as usual.
Also, in the spirit of summary, after reading all that, what would you guys say is the other takeaway? Is this a nerf in any way or a buff in any way?
Well, it'll be hard to
Seems-
tell. It's going to be in relation to the other what happens to
Right.
the other classes.
Quality
But
of life mainly, I'd say,
yeah.
in terms of those extra stuff to purge immobilizers and stuff, and a few more movement things for PvP, that kind of thing.
So it could be perceived as a buff, depending on what happens to the other classes, basically.
Or a leveling, and yes.
Okay.
Oofalong, what do you reckon?
Yeah, so in isolation, it's tough to figure out what this means. But certainly more mobility, more immunity to stuns, things like that, or faster movement speeds. These are all good things, so that's nice. I believe, so I guess the one caveat I would throw out is I think all of this is subject to change. If I recall correctly, when they showed the 3.0 streams for the different classes, specifically at least the Marauder and Sentinel one, whatever they showed isn't actually what appeared in 3.0 and Shadow of Revan when it went live. So I guess I'm taking all of this as just a tentative. This was the plan at one point. It's probably directionally accurate in the sense that we're not going to see wide sweeping changes, as you kind of alluded to. It's more of the same. But I wouldn't be surprised if when this actually goes live that we see some different values here. You know, maybe it's a 10% instead of 15%, or it's 6 stacks or 7 seconds instead of this, or something like that. So
right.
I suspect it'll be a little bit different when it actually goes live. But there's nothing in here that terrifies me, but there's nothing in here that really excites me.
Yeah, that sums it up. Alright, let's move on then. Next, we found out there will not be, in 4.0, a Nightmare mode for Eternity Vault and Karaga's Palace. Now, there is at the moment, obviously, but these were the first Nightmare modes that they added, since Eternity Vault and Karaga's Palace were the first operations, and all they did was increase the health and the damage done, etc. And so there were no new mechanics. That's why if you go back and do it now, it's pretty much hard mode, but everything hits a bit harder, and if you're level 60, it really doesn't matter. You can just ignore all that stuff. So they're easy. And so they're getting rid of the Nightmare mode in 4.0, which means that any unique drops that were found in Nightmare at the moment will now drop in hard mode instead, or as well as all the stuff you would also get in hard mode. So any unique stuff is now in hard mode. The timed run titles for Nightmare mode can no longer be earned once 4.0 goes live, so they will be gone. Those titles will no longer be... if you've earned them, you can keep them, but you will no longer be able to earn them. And finally, any achievements which that were specific to Nightmare mode will be moved to a new archive section under operations. So they'll still be there in your achievement log, but no one else can get them.
Right.
So that's how they're going to handle that. They will not remove the achievement, they'll simply place it in an archive section, which is
Okay.
fair enough. So if you want to get those timed run titles or those Nightmare achievements, do it now. You've got until 20 October when 4.0 goes live.
Do it now. I'm very happy that they're telling us these things. That's really great. The things that, like, achievements that will no longer be available, thank you, BioWare, for telling us.
Have a look at your achievement log and just see what's left. If you haven't got them all, now is the time, because Nightmare, Eternity Vault, and Karaga's Palace are easy peasy. You can just blow through them and get it done.
Yeah, they're very, very easy to do right now. You don't need to obey the Trinity. You can go in there well undermanned with... I think at least each of them have that puzzle boss, so I think you need a set number of people to be able to clear the puzzle. I think it's 4 in Eternity Vault, and I think it's also 3 at least in Karaga's Palace. So, but otherwise, go in, get a couple buddies. It's really easy. Get the 8-man achievements, get the 16-man achievements, get some titles, have some fun with it.
And for in Karaga's Palace, the second last boss, which is the puzzle boss, you do need someone who can solve the Towers of Hanoi problem, which is the puzzle. It's easy. You'll probably look it up if you really need to, but you do need to do that. You can just ignore that mechanic. It will just take you... Actually, no, you probably can't, because he will enrage.
I wonder how long you could fight through the enrage at level 60 with tons of gear.
But it's a hell of a waste of time.
Challenge accepted.
Just to put it in context, by solving the puzzle, the Towers of Hanoi, that will take off damage protection from the boss. You probably have to solve it, I think, once or twice, and you remove the protection, then you just burn the boss down. But without that, if you don't do it, he's got this damage protection, which will just means even at level 60, you're not really hitting him very hard. So, move along. Good luck with that. Hope you got a lot of time on your hands.
I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Cool.
You're the man.
All right, next, Conquest. Now, it's been well known for quite a while now that the way to win a planetary conquest is just to craft your way to victory.
Craftorama,
talked about that before, so it's more or less a waste of time to do anything else. You just get your guild to craft a whole lot of stuff. You can sort of pretend to participate in the other activities, but what's the point? So they're changing that. They're changing the objective Conquest War Supplies to make it no longer repeatable.
Okay.
And so you get 2,000 points for doing it once per legacy, basically, and done.
Awesome.
Yep.
Right, and they're also
This could be it.
lowering the personal target for target points from 35,000 to 20,000, which
sometimes
it's got to be
35K
related.
was a little too hard to get to. So
Yeah, and especially now that you can't just craft your way to it.
Indeed. So that I've seen a lot of commentary around this since this was announced, and the main point that people seem to raise is the only repeatable content now, since they kind of nerfed the repeatable stuff in PvE, is PvP. You can still get points for war zones if you just spam them.
Okay.
There is no real limit to that. Whereas with the PvE side of things, you can do operations or you can do flashpoints, but either once per legacy or once per day if you do it the daily. So yeah, there is no non-PvP repeatable or spammable content.
I think this is really good news. I think that small changes to Conquest could make them very different, than they have been. And that change to Dark Projects or whatever it was, War Supplies, that's a big deal. Hopefully it will change the way they work. And by the way, I'm just adding a link here. There is it's probably what you were referring to, Teal. A great conversation right now happening on Reddit. People coming up with some really awesome ideas for Conquest. And they just seem so simple. They seem like they can work and just be great. So if you have time, go to Reddit and read this really awesome thread and also contribute. I really hope BioWare's reading this thread because there's some easy, simple ideas there that could make a little more open world possibility and a lot more fun for Conquest, I think.
I'd suggest making flashpoints spammable. Since they're all going to be, raised to the level effectively, then they're all going to be challenging. You can't just blow through them. So
that would help the queue a lot, wouldn't it? What they
That would make sense.
seems like, yeah, what they just did is going to help the PvP Warzone queue, hopefully. And if they did what you just said to you, that would help the Flashpoint queue.
Yeah.
So do we have time for a tangential topic?
Sure.
Let's see. What is it?
All right, so I meant to send you guys a note from a couple weeks ago. I think you had Kuze and I forget the other one on talking about some great changes to PvP that would make it more interesting, and this would make the game so much better. They weren't negative in saying this is a terrible game. Like, you guys were very positive about it, but you spent a lot of time talking about how these changes would improve things for PvP. And so it's interesting looking at the same topic of improving things for conquests. I guess I just have to ask if those are things that BioWare actually should be doing. With the direction they're going in 4.0 and Coffee of story, 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 are the majority of the players, is their revenue coming from people who really don't care about group content? And if so, then why reinvest so much in PvP or conquests or anything like that? We see that in operations. You can argue that PvP has been underappreciated forever in this game. So, I guess I don't want to stymie conversation or discourage people, but I always just think it's interesting. We talk about adding all these new systems, new incentives to do this stuff. Maybe people just don't want to do it, and not the player base that BioWare currently has or is hoping to attract.
Well, you might be right, Flung, but I do know that, when Conquest landed along with Strongholds, that was a very active, pretty exciting time in the game. A lot of people had a lot of fun at first with Conquest. It was once everybody realized the craft to win, which is really just an OP, an issue of balance, and that they never fixed until now. I think that's the only reason that it kind of tapered off, in my opinion. And I do think that they've got to be adjusting these awesome. I think it's an awesome system if they got to adjust it, because they've got to be ready for what kind of content are they going to have in between story chapters. And it seems like I'm really glad to hear them talking about Conquest, because we probably will get back into it in between story chapters.
Yeah, you may be 100% right. I would suggest that Galactic Starfighter was really awesome when it came out, and there were a lot of people playing it. Heck, I know you guys on the podcast talked about it all the time when it first came out. Yeah. And what's up with that now? And I'm not trying to say that these aren't good ideas or that this shouldn't be the direction the game goes. I guess I hope everybody isn't disappointed if these things never come to pass. So, grounded expectations.
True.
I guess we want something to do in our MMO, and if they're sort of taking those things away, and if the only thing left is story, then that's not a good thing, and hopefully they recognize that. It is an MMO with lots of people in it, and people, at least some of them, will want to play together, and they should have the option to do that. I don't anticipate they're going to spend a lot of time on that this year, but at least they can maybe get some low-hanging fruit, such as making the flashpoints spammable for Conquest. It's a simple thing they could do.
Totally. Just flip a switch,
Yeah. No need for massive investment, just simple things. And if for the people who want to do it, they can do it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I do see where you're coming from.
Not saying this isn't good stuff, just offering a different perspective.
You're right, and we should probably be realistic. Like who was it who put us all in check about something a few weeks ago? I was like, the realistic expectation is probably somewhat lower than. So yeah, we do have to keep our expectations in check.
Right.
All right.
Tio, before we go to the next one, can I take a quick bio? I will
Sure.
Be right back. Thank you.
Yep.
Ditto. Right back.
My God, we are running long, but that's good. That just means we'll skip some stuff.
I sort of made it my mission to talk more on this podcast. Hopefully that's not a bad thing to you.
It's not a bad thing. Definitely not a bad thing, because stuff I can always put off, and yeah, we don't have that much feedback.
And now that Ari's in the chat, it's clear that, the R1's doing okay, so you got all the time in the world now. I'm sure you have nothing else to do.
Up to a point, that is true.
There you go, Knight. I usually listen to the podcast while I'm walking my dog or cutting the grass or doing something like that, so I like a good hour and a half plus podcast.
Okay, back.
Well and truly will this time.
So sorry about all the coughing. It just, yeah.
No, it's fine. Alright, as soon as Chill's back, let's see.
A lot of content left in here still.
I'll save
a lot more to
interview
go
for
through.
next week, because it's not that interesting. Well, it sort of is, doesn't actually reveal anything exciting. I have next week's show notes open, so I can just cut and paste stuff.
It's a lot to talk about. It's like kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it's good, because it's been a bit quiet of late.
We got all that news yesterday, huh? About the Conquest news. Or was that today? The Conquest news?
That's been out for a while. I think.
A day or two, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, that's pretty much the only news this week. Though they have just put out the Smuggler and Gun and Imperial Agent blogs, story blogs, but not the class changes yet.
Oh, they put up blogs, nice.
Yeah. Alright, there's that.
They've suspended character transfers.
Again?
Oh, really? Did they say anything about the pricing? Is
So
the
that was
pricing taken away?
Yeah,
Is that temporary?
Musco just posted a good 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago about suspending them again.
Alright.
Thank you.
Chill. Welcome back. All right, not much. All right, just cut things down just so we can get through the rest of it.
Okay.
Right. So next in the news, Community Cantina has been announced. As we knew, it would be in New York City, New York, in conjunction with New York Comic Con, and it will be held at the Hard Rock Cafe, which is a fair hike from the Javits Center where New York Comic Con is happening. But I don't know. Maybe there's taxis. I don't know if there's a subway or whatever to get there.
There's definitely a subway. Take an Uber, walk, something like that.
Half hour walk or so, yeah. Yeah, and it's on Thursday night. Now, Comic-Con runs Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We were kind of anticipating the weekend, but no, it's going to be Thursday night, 7 to 11 p.m. And in conjunction with it, they're doing a cosplay contest. So you can actually dress up as your favorite SWTOR character or whatever. They haven't actually mentioned any prizes. To enter, you actually have to send them an email to SWTOR submissions at SWTOR.com with the subject line SWTOR Cosplay Contest. And I'll link to the page with all the details if you do want to enter.
I found the prizes somewhere.
Okay.
Somewhere online there was what they were going to give you. Like, first place was a bundle of things valued at like $1,000. Yeah, here it is. It's on that main page as well. You have to scroll down for the rules and whatever it's called.
All right, let me just do that. So
Judging. Compete for great prizes.
Oh, here we go. Yep. So a panel of judges assembled by the BioWare team will pick the top 3 winners based on these 4 criteria: creative of costume, creativity of costume, detailed craftsmanship, cohesive theme, and overall presentation. And the prizes... Why can't I see the prizes?
Keep scrolling down.
Way down at the bottom. Or, well, not quite. Yeah, basically at the bottom.
And there are some fantastic prizes. Jesus, website is... I'm not sure I like this kind of design. Just on and on and on. Anyway, all entrants will receive 1,050 cartel coins just for being a part of the contest. So that's not bad. That's like $10 worth of cartel coins right there, just for dressing up. Just put on a bathrobe and be a Jedi. I don't know, there may be some minimum criteria here. But anyway, the first place winner gets a $500 Amazon gift card, a full year of sub, 14,500 cartel coins, all player strongholds fully unlocked. How they manage that? No.
Yeah, all 5.
Yeah, so you can just and
maybe
the cartel
changes
coin version. So activate whichever ones you want. That's
Clever.
kind of cool. And a whole bunch of popular in-game mounts. Wow. Including a Rancor. Cool.
And the
Total value,
jetpack,
$973 US. The second place winner gets not quite as much cool stuff, but they do get half a year of sub, $250 Amazon gift card, 5,500 cartel coins. They get Tatooine fully unlocked and a bunch of mounts, and etc. So, and there is some pretty cool stuff at third place as well. So, wow. So we should mention that Chill, as I believe we have sort of mentioned previously, we were planning to send him to New York for this, and that is actually, we've booked the flights last night, so Chill is going. And
I am going. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This will be my first time ever to New York, and I'm looking forward to seeing, the Big Apple. Very cool.
So,
and I believe you have purchased the Thursday, so you can actually be going into at least Thursday in New York Comic Con.
Oh god, it's going to be such a whirlwind tour, too, man. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be get there, do everything in the one day, sleep, and then head back late the next day. So I guess I'll have a little bit of time on Friday to do something outside. But basically, it's basically going to be Thursday Comic Con and then the SWTOR Cantina. So it's going to be awesome, and we are dipping into the war chest for this. So thank you to everyone who is a Patreon or a donator or any of that. I really appreciate it, and of course I'll be doing all sorts of OotiniCast related things too. Asking questions of the developers. So start shooting me questions if you have them, and I'll start making a list. And I also on Thursday at the Comic-Con, there's going to be like some sort of deal about season 2 of Star Wars Rebels that I'm planning on attending as well, so I can report on that. So yeah, so there'll definitely be some nice OotiniCast related stuff to do, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Excellent.
Yeah. Chill, the chat room's reading my mind here. That they want to know, as do I. First of all, what character are you going to be in the cosplay contest? Do you have your Admiral Akbar mask? And number 3, how about Selkath jumpsuit? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think I would be definitely heading towards that 1050 free for entering, sort of level. But I don't think I'll be able to do that. Partly because I'm basically I'm taking a red-eye flight. I basically am not going to be sleeping except for on a plane the first night and just going straight to the Comic-Con. So I'm going to have to carry everything with me. So that's sort of...
You just Akbar it up on the plate,
Yeah,
TSA.
big. The whole Yaya Han thing is not possible based on how I'm doing it. So,
Dick Young was suggesting you could dress as Satil Shan.
Yes.
Great idea.
Maybe I'm not sure. I'm not even sure what sort of cheapy costume I could do if But it would be fun, but I just don't think I can swing it, unfortunately.
Chill, we'll talk offline. I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up at the event too, so maybe we'll sort something out. But
and I believe Neptune is going as well from Old Republic Radio.
Yep, we're talking about a pilgrimage from Columbus here. So
awesome. So a good time will be had by all Thursday night at the Hard Rock Cafe. This is in Midtown, so you'll be staying there somewhere around there, Chill, and.
Right.
Well, everything is in within easy reach.
Supposedly, yeah. I'll have to figure out how best to get from the Comic-Con over to the cantina. So.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure these locals will be able to give you a few tips.
Cool.
Download Uber. If you don't have Uber on your phone, you can now get used to using it and take that around.
I prefer Lyft.
Yep.
Okay, Lyft is fine, but. It's so convenient.
LYFT.
Yeah, it is.
All right, now, bit of other Star Wars news just mentioned briefly. We had Force Friday last Friday, which was some sort of massive marketing event in terms of releasing all of the Star Wars The Force Awakens merch. And there's all kinds of stuff, including BB-8, which is what I got for myself. Which is the actual miniature version of the droid that appears in The Force Awakens. I'll link to a story on StarWars.com that describes how they actually made BB-8 or came up with the concept. This droid is made by a US company, and it looks pretty amazing. I haven't got it out of the box yet, so
from Sphero, right?
Back from Sphero as a company.
Sphero, based in Denver. Yeah, it's a big win.
But yeah, so much stuff to spend people's money on. I got to admit, I kind of missed that because it was kind of in conjunction with personal matters, but yeah. Did any of you indulge in some Star Wars memorabilia?
Not this time around, no. Well, it's not new stuff, but I did get some several Star Wars books over the weekend on Audible, and I'm listening to those. Dark Disciple is really good. I finished that one. If you like Ventress, she's important in it. And and I'm working on, what's it called? It's the one that's kind of based around Rebels, I believe. What's it called again? Star Wars: A New Dawn. Yeah. So far that's good, but I barely touched it. So.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna get that sweet First Order TIE Fighter with like the red paint on this. Looks so awesome. They make a big Lego set, and I'll get that for my little nephew, which is how I live vicariously. We'll put that together.
Right. As long as you help him put it together, it's like it's your own.
Right, I get to pretend. Oh, it's for him. It's for him. Yeah.
Ufalong is holding something up.
Yeah, it's not the First Order one. If I could show you guys around my room, maybe I'll try and spin the camera up. I am sitting full of a room chock full of Star Wars toys. So I'm
all I'm seeing is your face right now. I see the picture. I don't see your actual camera. Oh, there we go.
Yes. Lego.
Is that Lego?
Let's see if I can stretch the camera up here. There's a Super Star Destroyer, the Imperial Shuttle.
Nice.
There's
Oh,
a
wow.
B-Wing up there. Millennium Falcons on the table behind me back there.
Nice.
And then on the shelves, there's a bunch of the action figures and things like that. So I have. So you would think that I got a lot of stuff for Force Awakens, but I didn't. Mainly because I couldn't find stuff that I liked. Like I wanted to find like a comprehensive list of these are all the toys. These are going to be the new Hasbro action figures. I couldn't find anything online ahead of time. So when I went out to the stores to find stuff, a lot of it was sold out, and I thought a lot of it was pretty junky. So while I'm certainly interested in like the Legos and some things like that, I was surprised how unimpressive a lot of the stuff was. Now, you'll have to look into this too now, Tio. They did have a lot of children's clothing featuring the new Star Wars stuff. So, of course, I bought my daughter a little Darth Vader hoodie and like a pink Star Wars like X-Wing hoodie and some T-shirts. So
Cool.
maybe like you live along, I can force her to live the Star Wars Force Awakens experience, you know, if I'm not doing it myself. So
Fully immerse her in it. She'll have no choice but to be a Star Wars fan.
I take our daughter goes to a daycare, and she has a Star Wars T-shirt or two, or several. And one of the teachers asked, you know, oh, is she a Star Wars fan? And I said, she is. She just doesn't know it yet.
As it should be.
But anyway. Yeah.
All right. Now, also with Force Friday, we had Star Wars Aftermath, the novel by Chuck Wendig. It came out, and that is the first in the Star Wars The Aftermath trilogy, and pretty much begins to fill in the gap between the end of the Return of the Jedi, where with the Emperor's death, etc., and what happens in The Force Awakens. So we begin to find out what happens. I have actually obtained a copy, but I haven't started reading it yet. So once I have, I'll report back. But yeah, if you want to find out, just
that is the third book I
history.
got on Audible as well. So
excellent.
So I'll be checking it out too.
Available now from everywhere really. Now, last week, Khan's got the Humble Bundle audiobooks, the Star Wars audiobooks, and he asked us what order we should listen to them in. Now, last week, Jagged Fell started to fill it in, and I went back and just filled in the gaps. This is, so Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Jedi Dark Lords of the Sith are Old Republic novels. They were books that are now in audio form. So you read those first, then there's the original Star Wars, the original radio drama, and then Dark Forces, Book 1. Now, those are based on the video game. Dark Forces 2, and Jedi Knight. Which is kind of cool. I didn't even know they'd actually made a dramatization of them. Books and audiobooks now.
Nice.
So I can actually go and... I own them now, so I can actually go and listen to them. And so Dark Forces Book 1, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Dark Forces Books 2 and 3, which take place just after Return of the Jedi, and then finally Dark Empire, which are based on the comics, the Dark Empire comics, which are sort of set awkwardly after the Timothy Zahn's Thrawn series of novels. Of course, that's all legends now, but if you want to listen to them in that order, that is, at least chronologically, would make the most sense.
Right. They could definitely just declare the Thrawn series, back as canon, and there'd be a lot of happy people out there.
There would indeed.
That's the exact era that they want to rewrite at this moment, though, or they already have rewritten. So.
All right, let's just quickly do a bit of community news. OotiniCast.com/store. We've got links to our Redbubble site where you can purchase the Utini Knights and the Utini Rage shirts printed on whatever shirt you choose. Yeah, go for it, guys. Profits will go back
it's fun.
and we're not actually putting that much extra on top of the actual cost of the shirts. Artist Adam Shumpert will get a cut, because they're his designs, and we'll keep the rest for just sundry expenses. But yeah, finally the shirts are available. You can get your own Utini Rage and Utini Knights shirt at last. Sorry it took so long, but better late than never. And finally, we have a unofficial ranked PvP event being organised on the Prophecy of the 5 server. We sent this promo, So I'll read it here. Are you on the mostly dead but still slightly alive server known as Prophecy of the Five? Do you want to get some ranked PvP matches in but can't find a pop to save your life? Are you looking for a chocolate-coated miracle pill? Well, worry no longer. Come one, come all. To the unofficial ranked PvP event on Prophecy of the Five server. Bring PvP mains to raise their standing, bring ults to get color crystals, bring teams, queue solo, no level 60 warm body with a 2018 rating. Will be turned down. That sounds more
Very
awesome
nice.
than a rabbit ferret in my trousers, you say. How can I participate, you ask? It's easy. Simply log in with a ranked eligible character on Prophecy of the Five server and queue for ranked between 7 PM and 10 PM Eastern this Saturday, 12th of September.
I just have one problem with this. There are no ferrets in Star Wars. Okay, that needs to be like, what are those little rats? Those little rats on Tatooine?
Womp rats?
Yeah, rabid womp rat in one's trousers. Okay, fixed.
More awesome than a rabid womp rat
Thank you.
trousers. Alright, and that's the news.
Alrighty, that brings us to the Force Feedback, where we read out your tweets and emails. And chat room, if you have any questions to ask, we'll be gathering them now to answer once we're done with the feedback. And Kronotoko wrote in, "Oh no, not another Chewie joke. When all else fails, what does Chewbacca use to communicate? A Wookiee-talkie."
Oh God.
There we go.
Wow.
BioWare, please send Kranitoko some jokes in his next pack. Wookiee talking. All right.
I love your initiative to find Star Wars humor here. I think this is great. I can't wait till we get to the end of this journey to see if there's anything that's funny.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. It's all so bad.
Sure.
It's been definitely a drive across the desert so far. Blacklock Road, thanks. I love the new Tonfon, and it's a nice little screenshot of Blacklock with the Tonfon pet out. Very nice.
Yeah, I love how his character's like totally badass, and this Fonfon's like meow.
Yeah.
Fonfon's like so cute. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
and that's why people prefer the Torn Fawn to the M8 3R.
Yeah, and I really like his character's like mask. It has kind of like it's an upper face mask without like a bunch of stuff over the jaw. That's very cool.
But he might be Miraluka. That might be why.
Good to see other characters with the male type body. One, just not enough of us.
True.
Chicken Sith wrote, listening to the episode, I think outside story or adventuring is like world area versus green story gate. Like using Kira for combat before summoning T7 for T7 only moments.
Keep going. That makes sense.
For T7 only moments in Night Story when Kira is hostage.
Yeah, so wondering what happens with playing through the story, and they're saying we are limited to the companions we can access, except where we're not playing through our story, when we're doing adventuring. And he's basically saying it's like just like it is now when there are certain story areas, instance areas behind a green gate where you're limited to which companions you can bring out. But in the open world, you can do what you like.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, sort of. But also, there are certain class stories where if your, companion is knocked out or kidnapped or, anything else happens to them, they're just grayed out. And until you advance in your story, they're just gone.
Yeah, I think there are some like that. Well, let's just hope that's what they're going to do, because that's okay with me if they're grayed out, for a time. Or if they're dead. Great.
Skadge. Right.
Bamal Suj wrote, I just thought I'd mention that when you're talking about the Makeb achievement, you were worried about being able to solo the hard mode 4s. But I had more problems with the hard mode 2 false history, since there are traps that have to be disarmed, which are extremely difficult to solo, although it can be done.
Those are heroic, not hard mode.
Oh, did I say hard mode? Okay.
I don't know. People know what you mean.
Yeah. Right. Pedro Lopez Jr. wrote, just an FYI, I was able to solo all of the Makeb heroics with my level 60 characters.
So likewise, he was able to do it. So you can do it, but as Amal Saj said, yeah, maybe a little hard if there are some mechanics.
Mechanics,
Maybe,
yeah.
difficult to get around.
Yeah, Turg wrote in, if Force Awakens is a massive hit, should the next SWTOR expansion start with us frozen in carbonite for 3,700 years instead of 4?
Bringing us up to the current era.
Interesting idea.
I guess I have to ask, why does he have to say if Force Awakens is a massive hit? Is there
That's true.
Is there not a more sure thing?
Kind of a given. Yeah. Yep.
I do think there's something going on there because okay, wait, they're going to freeze us in carbonite, huh? It is an opportunity to set any length of time that they want, and they're saying that they set 5 years, and they're saying there is no connection to Force Awakens. Not sure. I totally buy both of those. I think there could be something else. I hope there's more. I guess that's what I want to say.
Yeah, I imagine the connection they have with the actual story team on Disney, Lucas and LucasArts and all that would basically prevent them from doing that. But
yeah, but they did say, I'm pretty sure that a long time ago they said we're working on a connection. I'm like 80% sure something was said, and then they started. Then they just stopped talking about it, and now they're like, oh no. I could be wrong, and I can't quote the exact moment, but I think there was a point at which there was like, well, we're looking at fitting in with new canon,
That'd be nice. I imagine though it would be more like a reference or something in the new movies than it would be taking the game all the way to a modern era. But
true, possible. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that either. I just think there could be some element, like whether it's one little thread or a character, that because of the freezing in carbonite, I don't know, maybe one of our heroes or something gets frozen a little too long, just some way to have them wake up in the future. We'll see.
Right. All right. Sturka writes, Sturka will say, writes, you mentioned all the statues you had in your strongholds. Would it be possible to list where you can get each of these statues, if they're not listed somewhere already? And Tio, you had a suggestion.
Just Tor Decorating, which is a Dolphy sister site, has the list of statues, which is the site is maintained by Exile, which I believe we have interviewed in the past. So, yeah, that would probably be your definitive list of all the decos. I assume Tor Community has something similar. I do find their site a bit harder to navigate to find specific items.
Yeah, and I believe Sorterista has that information too, or links to it.
Excellent.
Yeah, SWTOR Strongholds has it as well, and as Tio says, depending on how you like your sites presenting information to you, maybe you find it easier to use or not. So
sure.
Very cool. Arvashet wrote, so with the new companions gear not affecting them, could you basically use them for alt gear, i.e. spare DPS gear for a tank?
Very clever. If you don't care what they look like, say a companion you never bring out, you could obviously just use them as a clothes hanger, basically.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, of course you can't put implants or earpiece, since they're removing slots that are...
Presumably they would be removing those.
Visible.
Yeah.
I believe they stated that explicitly. But yeah, why not? Save a few gear slots at least or save a few inventory slots at least.
I'm assuming they will still have offhand, or will it only be for companions that actually use an offhand weapon, like a dual?
Use an offhand.
Well, they use an offhand, but they don't show for most of them. Only if they're dual wielding or something.
Oh, good point.
You know what I mean?
Good
like if they're just holding a focus, is that going to be gone? Yeah.
Good question.
You would assume
one of those little details that they're going to have to figure out.
Yeah.
All right, Shamar of the...
Hang on. Let's skip this one. Let's skip Shamar's and we'll do that next week.
Okay.
Unless anyone wanted to comment on it. I'll screw it. Just do it. I'm looking at the time.
Yeah. It's okay.
Okay. Let's see. Do we go down to Knights?
No, just do Shamar's, Jill.
Oh, do Shamar's? Okay. Shamar of the Old Republic Dads Guild on the Shadowlands wrote, hey, OotiniCast, I had some thoughts about your discussion last week on Influence, Alliance, and Companions. Regarding that mystery word alliance, I have a theory as to what it means. We know a couple of things about Kopfi. The Empire and Republic are in shambles, both decimated by the Skrull Empire. In the gameplay trailer, we witness Valkorion offering your character a choice to kneel and take your place in his empire. We've been told by BioWare that our choices will matter. Hopefully that is true. It is incredibly frustrating when the story does not allow your character to make a real choice. Does anyone else remember when Skadge became your bounty hunter companion instead of letting you shoot him in the face? I included a comic from Pro Tips by Steve Hamaker as an example. And it shows someone of Yoda's race or species saying, "This mission requires you to crawl through that sewage pipe for 3 miles. It is the only way into the rebel compound. Sorry. These are my choices. 1. Sure, sounds fun. 2. Looks dangerous, but let's do it. 3. Yuck. I'll do it, but seriously, yuck."
Choices. Mhm.
Yes. We've talked about this before. It's basically the magician's choice, where it's only the appearance of a choice rather than giving you real options. So here's my hope for Kopfi. What if the choice that Valkyrian gives you to join him was a real choice? What if BioWare is not just talking about choices that matter, but actually let you choose to kneel and join Valkyrian or join the Resistance, composed of the remnants of the Republic and Empire? It would affect the entire story and would add some real replayability to Kopfi. Otherwise, why would I bring all 6 of my level 60s through the same story? Kopfi would almost serve as a re-faction opportunity. Could that be what is meant by alliance? It was stated in the last podcast, episode 222, that your influence over your companions affects their alliance. If BioWare is serious about giving us choices that influence the game, then the influence you have over your companions could determine whether they support your choices and choose to accompany you. For example, Lana Beniko would most likely join the Resistance against the Zakuul Empire, but if you have enough influence over her, she would be willing to follow you if you choose to join them. Here's hoping.
Oh, that would be so great. I hope it's like that. You know, where you really can...
Come on.
That would be very cool. I don't know if that's what's happening or not, but that would be very cool.
If
they're putting
cool, but so much work.
I know, but it's like they put all their resources into this story. They should have the ability to do that. That's all they worked on is just the story. It should branch. It should branch.
Sure.
If it doesn't branch, what's the point? You know what I mean?
Set expectations at realistic.
Well, it would be interesting. I mean, it would be it would be like a refactioning to some degree, except I guess out of the story you would still do the Republican Empire thing, but maybe there could still be some in-game changes as well at the end. I don't know. It's a cool idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Oh, I mean, it'd be fantastic if they did, but really get your expectations where they should be.
I just want to read
pleasantly
one thing.
surprised.
One comment from the chat room from Dark Edge Gaming. I wish I could tell BioWare, quote, "There's a 20% chance my credit card won't pay you this month, BioWare. Are you willing to work by your own rules?" Unquote. If we're talking about packs, it's less than that. If we're talking about packs, it's probably less than 1 in 5 chance to get something awesome.
Yeah, this is stemming from BioWare's definition of reverse engineering or ultra rare, the different terminology they use that may not be each player's experience. So.
Yeah, their streaky R&D generator is just bizarre.
All right, shall I move on to Knight?
Yes.
All right, Knight wrote, "Hello, as I was driving and re-listening to your last episode, since I'm caught up with all the other podcasts, I got an idea about companions and how their skills might work. When Treek is swapped from tank to DPS, she doesn't get a whole new set of skills."
Oh, did we do this last week? This looks really familiar.
I don't think so.
Let me just open up last week's notes and check.
I mean, Knight's is talking about something we talked about last week, but I don't think Knight's discussion itself was given last week.
Yeah, you talked about it, but I don't think it was in this context or this specific comment.
All right, sorry, chill. Keep going.
Okay. When Treek is swapped from tank to DPS, she doesn't get a whole new set of skills. Some of her skills just change effects. That's how the other companions might be too. The animations and skill could mostly stay the same, but the effects could change. In DPS, an AoE skill loses damage. In tank, it does less damage, but the threat is increased for targets affected by it. For heals, it does no damage, but the mobs caught by in the radius have threat reduced, and it would be an AoE heal. That way all the companions still have their skills like they do now, just edited a little. Might not be true, but that's my thought on the subject. Take care, see you around on the Harbinger.
That makes sense, actually.
It sounds like the sort of thing that they might do, basically. So
They don't want to throw away animations, because that's a lot of work. That's the
Right.
graphics team doing stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
repurposing them does make sense. That's probably right.
yeah, right. And especially since they won't, I mean, what was I getting at? If there's going to be 3 different, stances for everyone, it is going to be very tricky, but you can't exactly take a lot of the animations from one of the companions and use it on another, so they are going to have to get very clever about how they switch things around.
Yep.
Aren't all the heals, except for Treeks, just like somebody holding something like close to their chest or like pointing or doing something like that? So making DPS or tanks healers, I wouldn't imagine would be that difficult. Just look at like the operative or scoundrel, like they don't do anything.
Yeah, it's true. So, or they could just use some generic animation for something that does really.
Yeah, I'm just still. It's like I just can't wait to see Kim Val pull out his Kim Val's going to pull out his tricorder on me. Like I've got to heal you.
Force users just wave their hand.
Yes, I'm thinking it's a lot of hand waving, shaking fingers, things like that. So.
And do you want me to read the joke?
Yep, and let's finish with that.
Okay. And Knight also wrote a joke from Star Wars, apparently. What did Luke say when the Banthas came over the hill? Hey, look, the Banthas are coming over the hill. What did he say the next day when they came over the hill with sunglasses on? Nothing. He didn't recognize them.
That's so bad, it's almost funny.
I don't.
No, it's just bad.
Is there part of the movie where like someone puts glasses on and someone doesn't recognize them?
This sounds like a scene from The Room starring Tommy Wiseau, and if you've seen that, you'll know the scene I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just look up The Room. Okay, maybe that's what he's referring to.
Star Wars humor never fails to disappoint.
Exactly. All right, then. That's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Harbinger server, or in our...
I was going to do my Wookiee version.
Yeah, come on, keep going. Not too late.
Okay, all right, ready? Here goes.
All right. Sure.
Guild on the Empire side. Do/C join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then ask for the quiz that lets us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to utinicast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @UtiniCast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, utinicast.com, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Go to utinicast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is from Mevio's Music Alley. Check it out at music.mevio.com. That's MEVIO. And thank you to the chat room. And thank you to Fulong and Ivalon.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next week.
All right, gentlemen, keep recording. Everyone, thank you for watching. Sorry it was so long, but actually there was some good stuff in there. So, yeah, thank you. We should be back next week, episode 224. We do have a special plan, but that won't be for another couple of weeks till I need to talk to you about that.
Okay.
Everyone, yeah, because we're recording. All right, we'll cut it there. Usual time next week. Oh, and this week we're recording the Galactic Gamers Coalition. Either Chill or myself will be on it. It's being hosted by the SWOTOR Escape podcast, Max and Seema. The first
Very
time
cool.
they've actually hosted.
Sweet.
That should be cool. That should be on Saturday US time. I don't know if the guys will live stream it or not. I think they live stream their own show. They'll probably live stream that as well, and they'll be published whenever Max gets around to it. So that's about it. Remember, you can buy the shirts, utinicast.com/store for the links. Utini Rage and Utini Nights. Thank you all for watching or listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
All right, stopping the broadcast.